Okay, so it's really raining now, but the fire is lit really well, and the coal's burning nicely. Really, when you're doing proper smithing, you really want the fire to have come to a nice. You want to have burned up all the impurities in the coal, but for what we're doing here, I don't think that's necessary. So what we're going to make? Well, first of all, I ain't got any proper fire tools. I've got a poker, and as a blacksmith, what you do, you get your coal and you put it around the edges, and as it gets burned up, you rake it in. So what you really need is a fire rake. So I'm going to go stick some steel in. I'll show you what I've got. Everything we're going to be working with is scrap, okay? So this is what we got. It's the old, find it at building sites, about everywhere. You put rope around it, you know. They're basically steel poles, and I thought they'd be iron, but I've cut it open, turns out to be steel, so that's good. So I'm going to stick this in here, heat up the end, and we'll get to work on the anvil. There we go. Right, so that is the first thing I've done on a forge. So you just got that 90-degree turn there and flatten that out roughly. I'm going to flatten that out a bit more. Also, I want to chop this off to the desired length to use as the rake. So when you chop things in as a blacksmith, you don't normally use a hacksaw or an angle grinder unless you have to. Normally you'll use a hot chisel. Now I don't have any hot chisels. That'll be something I'm going to be making later. So we're going to have to improvise. I'm going to find like a chisel or a flathead screwdriver or something. And all we're doing, we're going to heat this up at the point we want to forging temperature. Hit it with a point, which will make a kind of incision into it. It'll make a deep cut. Now sometimes you can chop straight through it with this. Alternatively, you can cut most of the way through it, cool it, quench it, and then just knock it off on the anvil. So I'm going to heat this up first to finish straightening that out, and then we'll do that. So right, what I've done, I've heated up the part where I want it cut. I'm going to take it over to the anvil. And there, my assistant is going to use a cold chisel just to cut the end off. Now, ideally, this is where if you're working alone, you really want the hardy tool to chop the end off, which I'll be making at some point in the future. But for now, this will do. You don't necessarily need a proper chisel. You don't need a proper chisel. You can use a flathead screwdriver or anything. As long as it's mild steel, it'll be fine. Because this is hot, so it's nowhere near as hard as metal, so you won't really damage it. Okay, you ready? You got the chisel? Right, let's go. Ready? Right there, right. Yeah, that's it. There you go. Now normally if you're cutting all the way through, you should really do it on this pad, because that's softer, so you don't have to worry about damaging the face of the anvil. But the other alternative way is to cut about halfway through, quench it and then knock the end off, but in this case it went through nicely. So I've got the tool end of it done. That's all rotated and it's all nice. So I've got the end cut with the hot chisel, and the functionality of it's really done. But I want to put a nice handle on it, get a bit of practice in. So what I'm going to do with this, I've got it on the fire at the minute, I'm going to bend it over the horn, bend it round on itself, and then hopefully bend the end back again, and it should look nice. I might even twist it if I get the no, I don't think it'll work well because it's not really square stock, it's circular, so we'll just try to see how it goes. So hitting that with the ball peen hammer has really brought out that curve and made quite a nice little handle there. So I'm going to quench this purely to make it handleable, because this is mild steel, it doesn't actually quench, so it doesn't harden when you quench it. So don't worry, there's no fish in that. There are we? There we go. There we go. So we've just made our first tool, and it's a simple one, but I'm quite impressed with it from the first go. First ever thing I've ever smithed. So we got the simple right angle curve there for the rake, and then a nice handle here, and it's pretty straight, and it gives you a good grip on it, so you can rake to your heart's content. So pretty happy with that. Next up, I'm going to be having a go at building the hot and cold chisels, which 1 second. To make the hot and cold chisels, the ideal material is some good, reasonably high carbon steel. Just quickie, what I've got, because these are plastic gloves, I keep dunking them in water. That way, when you see them, when you see steam coming off them, you know that they're getting a bit hot and you're going to burn yourself soon. So that means you can dunk it in your quenching bath. So I'm going to do that now, because these are steaming away a bit. Does mean you have wet hands, but considering it's raining, it's hardly a problem. So, right, yeah, I've got this. This is a suspension coil spring. After school on Friday, I went round and scrounged some of these off of some garages, and I tried a few. Most of them said no. Then I went into Halfords and they said, yeah, sure, no problem. And I've got this. I don't know why they gave it to me, because it's brand new. It's still even got the paint on, and it's got the serial number in it as well, so I don't know what they're thinking there. But this is ideal. It's circular, and it's ideal for making tools. So that'll be the next thing. So I'm going to stoke up the fire and we'll get on with that. So I'm going to cut it to, I'll mark it out, cut it to length, flatten it out, and then make the tool end. The only problem with this is it's painted. I was expecting the paint to be gone, so you really want to get rid of that before you can do anything on it, so you just burn it